We are going to go over our same lesson from yesterday. So you will go to the activities. You're going to have to scroll down to find the activity that we started yesterday called We Just Got a Letter. 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 Wonder who it's from. Who can name that show? Who can name it? William?
Blue's Clues.
Yeah, good job. See, y'all's Blue's Clues now talks about we got an email. So I didn't even know if you'd know the old school song, We Got a Letter. I'm proud of you. Good job. All right, here we go. We're going to work on day 2 today. So we are looking at day 2, complete slides 7 through 11. Okay, complete slides 7 through 11. That's what we're looking at. And we are going to add the video recording that we're doing right now later. So go ahead and go open up your response from yesterday. So I'm going to go to mine as the sample student. I'm going to click on it and I'm going to click on edit post. Edit post. You will do the same thing to yours. We're going to work in the same activity that we did yesterday. Okay, so go ahead and open that up. And while you are finding it, I will pause to give you a moment to get there. Alrighty, yesterday as a review, we looked at our journey on the Mayflower and we are writing back to England to our Uncle Thomas George Cushman about the journey and about what life is like in the New World. So we're going to be telling our uncle what our life is like and if we think he should come. So we started off with reviewing how the boat ride was. We said people got sick, it was stinky, boring, cramped, and long. You were then asked to use your resources on Mayan to think about the videos that we watched in the past and to look at a new text if you wanted to about what kinds of shelter you have created. We struggled a bit here, kiddos. So we are going to add some together. So if I sent this back to you and said, please add some more, now's your chance. The kinds of shelter that our colonists had, that our settlers had when they got to America was very limited. There were no buildings, there were no apartments to move into, no cities set up for them. So what did they have to do with these shelters? Let's share out some answers now and I will record them. What did they have to do in order to get shelter? Go ahead and unmute one by one. Be patient. Let each other speak.
They created longhouses.
So there were longhouses. And what were those, Terrence?
By the mountains.
Yeah, they were. So they had to create them in nature. So longhouses in nature. Okay, very good. Who can tell us what these longhouses were like? What were they like? They big old mansions with tons of rooms in them and all the kids got their own room and they had a kitchen and they had a dining room and they had an entertaining room. What were they like? What were these like?
They were all just straight. They were all like bunk beds.
Yeah. One big room. So the adults were in the same room as the kids. You ate in the same room that you slept in. You read books in the same room that you got dressed in. It was all one big room. If you were asked to add more detail on your slide, this is your opportunity to be copying that down now. Hint, hint, hint. What else? What were the shelters like? Did we just get there and move in? These were already good to go? We just got there and said, okay, then what happened? How'd we make them?
They used bark. They used cedar bark.
Yep, had to build them out of parts of trees. So we had to chop the wood. We had to create the nails. We had to build these ourselves. Okay, we did not have these available to us. Anything else about our shelter? The kinds of shelter that we created to live in. Okay, so this was an opportunity for you to kind of catch some of those. I'm going to give you a minute to get that down.
There were no bathrooms in the house.
Great detail, Terrence. There were no bathrooms. If you remember, they had to go outside and dig a hole in the ground, or they had to use a pot to go to the bathroom in. So no bathrooms. They used chamber pots and holes in the ground. Okay. So if it was winter time, they were probably using chamber pots because you don't want to go dig in frozen ground. And if it was summertime and you had to go to the restroom in the middle of the night, you had to get up, leave your log house, go over to the hole that your family dug, and take care of your business. Great detail about the shelter. No bathrooms.
The bunk beds were spread out.
Yeah, they had the beds spread out around the house. Yep, you can put that in there too. All right. Then on slide 3 yesterday, you were asked to start a letter and just put your ideas into sentences. So obviously, if our Uncle Thomas George Cushman opened up a letter and it said, people got sick, stinky, boring, cramped, long, he would say, huh? What are they talking about? What does that mean? So we're going to put it into sentences. On the boat ride over, people got sick and threw up. It was stinky. Now Uncle Thomas George Cushman can go, oh, they're telling me about their boat ride. Okay. So we just practice putting those into sentences. If you finished your letter, great. You'll be ahead of time when we go to write our final draft letter later. You'll have some information to pull from. If you didn't finish your letter, that is okay too. It's just a draft day. All right. Slides 4 and 5 were optional fun ways for you to put yourself into the picture like Mr. McKinney did here. That was a terrible circle. Like Mr. McKinney did here. You did not have to do these. They were just a goofy thing. So that brought you to slide 6, which was stop, because today we're going to continue on with slide 7. Okay. I'm going to continue on with slide 7. I'm going to go ahead and play this video for you on my screen. You don't need to click play on your screen because that'll be doing too much with the sound. So go ahead and listen and think, and then we will move on to brainstorming more ideas for our letter to Uncle Thomas George Cushman.
If you can remember from yesterday's lesson, we set sail across the ocean on a long boat ride to land in the new colonies in America. So we started off here in 1620, just over 100 passengers seeking religious freedoms and opportunities set sail on the Mayflower from Plymouth Harbor in England. And then we sailed all the way across the Atlantic Ocean and landed in Plymouth. And as you can see, there's Plymouth Rock. Yesterday you answered 2 questions. Today I want you to answer 2 more questions. One question is, what are you eating? So read in this story the different types of food that you ate. The next question is, what are you doing to have fun? And read in this story the different things you did to have fun. When you are finished with all of your ideas, you can write your ideas in complete sentences just like we did yesterday. When you're finished with that, you can choose any one of these pictures to create a story about one of the questions that Uncle George asked you. Remember only to include details that you found in the stories you read.
Okay, so today you are going to work on those 2 questions. What are you eating? And I want to make sure that we're clear on something. This is not on the ship. This is now that we are on the new land. What are you eating in the new land? Because as we learned yesterday and talked about, corn was brand new for people. Okay, corn was not something that they had in Europe. That was a Native American vegetable that was introduced to us. Okay, so we're going to tell Uncle Thomas George Cushman what it is that we are eating now that we have landed in the new lands. You are also going to be answering this question in your breakout rooms. What are you doing to have fun? Again, this is about you now that you are in the new land. So you're going to pretend that you are a settler in the new land of America, and you're going to come up with ideas of what you are doing to have fun based on text evidence, okay? Based on text evidence. Right now, I want you to go ahead and go to slide 8. We're going to work on this together because it says with your teacher. So go ahead and go to slide 8.
Miss Sousa,
Yes.
they were eating crops like corn.
We do have some background knowledge that we're going to be able to pull from. Yes.
Miss Susa, can you go back to the second slide with all the sentences?
This one?
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Okay. I will upload this if you still need this. We're going to go ahead and work on that slide 8 together. So I have opened up this book, and this book has been added to your Mayan collection, but I've got it here for us, and I'm going to model for you how you can flip through pages to find information. So when we see a long section like pages 4 through 23, that's 19 pages of reading, okay? That doesn't mean that you have to read all 19 pages. It means you can skim read or kind of flip through information quickly to find what you need. So we're going to take a look here. These are the pages that we were asked to start on. It's about learning to survive. Obviously, we need food if we're going to survive. So I'm going to kind of flip through here and just see if I see food. Oh, look, they brought barrels of food with them, but they didn't have a plan for when the barrels ran dry. Instead, their thoughts were on the riches they hoped to find. Ooh, so they were hoping when they landed to find a whole bunch of food. That didn't go too well since they landed in the winter, right? I'm going to keep kind of skimming. I'm looking for the words food. I'm working for supply. Oh, look right there. By the winter, the colonists used up their food supplies. They had not grown enough crops to last the rough winter. The men were dying of starvation. Desperate, they began to eat the flesh of those who had died. People, that means they ate dead people. That is how desperate it was in this colony. Okay, let me see your faces because I bet they're freaking out. Yep. So that's one of the things they did. So what are you eating? We're going to write that down. That's a crazy fact. So these people were so desperate and so hungry that when people died, they said, well, that's meat. We can eat that. They didn't kill people to eat them, but once they had died, they said, okay, I guess we'll try it. Okay, so when we starved, we ate dead people's flesh. Ugh. That's gross. Okay, it's not because they wanted to. It's not because they were crazy. It's because they were going to die if they did not. That tells you how rough it was for colonists. Okay, just go ahead and type that in there. Some of y'all have nauseous faces. You're going, ugh. Me too. It's pretty yuck. So then we can go back and look at more of the text. So when we starved, we ate dead people's flesh. Go ahead and finish typing that up. And I'm going to keep scanning. After the terrible winter, farming. Oh, look, they understood the importance of farming, hunting, and preserving food. They realized American Indians had a wealth of knowledge that could teach them how to survive. So now we're going to start seeing what the Native Americans taught. Look at this. Indian corn. This whole page is about corn, people. So guess what? I don't need to read that whole page because the question is, what are you eating? Guess what they're eating? Corn. That's called skim reading. Okay, we're just finding the answer to our question and we're moving on. So eventually, they did not have to eat dead people. They started farming and hunting and saving crops. Okay, 8 and G.
They ate corn and corn porridge because that's what it said in the story.
Yes, there's also corn husk, which is part of that corn. That is correct. If you'd like to add that detail in there, go for it. Okay, so they started to eat corn. So I'm just going to go ahead and turn this page. That whole page is about corn. Look at this page. It's about mealtime. Okay, look, I can look at the picture and see some information here. So what am I seeing? I'm seeing some meat. Looks like some chicken right there. Ooh, I'm seeing berries over here. Look, there's some berries. Looks like some butter. Okay, so they started learning, right? They started figuring some things out. So I'm going to look through here as well. Oh, look, pigs. They had pigs, so maybe that's some pork over there. Dinner wasn't the same for all colonists. The food served depended on how wealthy the people were, so how much money they had. Poor families ate stews of pork, cabbage, and corn. The stew was served on a piece of stale bread. Okay, lots of information there. So let's go add it in there. They ate stale bread. They ate beef and pork. And I know I'm adding a lot in here. I'm going to keep it up here so you can add them too. They ate cabbage. In that picture, we saw butter. It means they must have figured out how to milk a cow to get that. So we got a couple pieces of information from that page. So again, I'm not going through and reading every single word of these pages. I'm skim reading. I'm flipping through and finding what I need and kind of forgetting about the rest. Okay? So when you have large sections of text, but you're only looking for one question, feel free to do that. Just kind of flip through and see what you notice and what you can find. That's called skim reading. Okay? So we had some corn, stale bread, beef and pork, cabbage, and butter. So the time when they were eating dead people's flesh was very short. This was not a choice that they made often. It was just in that first winter when things got really, really desperate. Okay. So in our letter to George or Uncle Thomas George Cushman, we're not going to say we eat people all the time. Okay, that's just when it got really bad. Okay, so we could include that in our letter to be honest with him and let him know, hey, it's not easy out here. Life is rough, but we're not going to say that's the main thing that we eat because that's not what happened. Okay, so I'm going to flip through a page and see if I can find a little bit more. Oh, look at that, breakfast and beverages and supper. So this is about what we had for breakfast and dinner. This is about what we drank. I don't have anything about drinking yet, so I'm going to add it on there. Colonists didn't drink much water. The water from lakes and streams was dirty. It got people sick. So they drank alcoholic drinks instead. Everyone drank beer and wine, even children. The colonists made beer from grains such as corn, and they made wine from fruit. They also drank tea. Black tea was imported from China and India, and I'm seeing tea a lot more here. Okay, so I'm going to go write that down. Tea, beer, and wine. So very different times, huh? Not drinks that we have as children now, and not drinks that we should be drinking every single day either. So wine and beer, that was together in one. And then we also drank tea. And one of the reasons that wine, beer, and tea were common drinks is because they were able to be cleaned. They could be boiled and heated to remove bacteria. They could be filtered to remove contaminants and make them so that we didn't get sick from drinking them. Okay? There are a lot more pages of information about what we ate and drank. That one page I just showed you talks about bacon. There's another page that's going to talk about the desserts, the sweets that were eaten. So if you would like to go through this and add more for your letter to Uncle Thomas George Cushman, feel free to do that. We're going to pause there for now so that you have time to work on your breakout room portions. Okay? On slide 9, you have a question that you are going to be answering. That question is, what are you doing to have fun? That is not about you right now. So you are not going to tell me that you're playing your PlayStation or your Xbox because there wasn't electricity or PlayStations or Xboxes in the new lands of America when settlers first landed, right? So what did the people in this time period do in Uncle Thomas George's time? Okay. You have a book that you looked at yesterday. Today you're being asked to look at pages 22 through 25. It's only 3 pages. So on Mayan, when you go to your projects folder and you click on that establishing community, there is a book there for you called The Scoop on Clothes, Home, and Daily Life. So you'll be able to open up that book, and it told you to go to pages 22 through 25. So at the bottom, I'm at page 10 and 11, 12 and 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I forgot what pages I'm going to. Oh yeah, 22 and 25. 18, 19, 20, 21. Oh, look. Wow, look how easy that is. It's called Fun and Games. Wow. So you're going to read these pages and find out what the early settlers did for fun and games. Okay, so look at those 2 pages. You in your breakout room will record the names of some games and activities that we played to keep ourselves entertained here. Okay, so you're going to go to a breakout room and you're going to work on slide 9 and slide 9 only. What questions can I answer about that? Levin.
Actually, on when you're on Mayan, you don't have to keep to the pages. Here, can you go back to my So do you see that little white the line with the little white square on top of it? Down at the bottom.
Hold on.
Keep going further
Oh,
down.
yes, here?
No.
Here?
Yes. Tap on that. Then you can find all the pages.
Thank you. Yes, you can also go this way. The reason this could be a little bit confusing is because this looks like page 11, but because we're counting by 2s, it's actually 11 times 2, which is 22. But it can help you move more quickly through the text as well. Thank you for pointing that out. That's great. All righty, let me finish setting up these breakout rooms, and then you are going to be completing slide 9 about fun and games with your breakout rooms. Look how many I was able to find. So many games and fun activities, tons. All right, today you are going to, during your independent work time, take what are you eating answers and what are you doing to have fun answers, and you are going to type them into a complete sentence as a practice letter. So again, if Uncle Thomas George Cushman got a letter that just said, corn, when we starved, we ate people, cabbage, bread, he would be like, what is happening? They have lost their minds. So we're going to put it into complete sentences, okay? Take the information about what you're doing to have fun and the information about what you are eating, and you're going to put it into complete sentences, okay? Slide 11 has some pictures for you if you wanted to put your face onto those pictures. Just like you did yesterday, here's some ways that you could practice that for fun. And then slide 12 has a Google Earth activity where you can search the journey from the European lands over to the new American world. And you can look at that Google Earth journey when you are done if you would like. But your goal, your must do, has to be done is slide 10, putting this information into sentences. Okay, that is what you're going to accomplish today.